Three Arab countries that condemned Israel's war on Gaza are quietly earning millions of dollars in trade with the Jewish state that they publicly despise. Latest numbers show countries like Egypt, UAE and Jordan have increased their exports to Israel even as they accuse Tel Aviv of genocide in Gaza. The duplicity is the most explicit in the case of Egypt. The Middle Eastern nation joined South Africa's genocide lawsuit against Israel in the World Court earlier this year. At the same time, latest data shows Cairo doubled its exports to Israel. According to the numbers shared by Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics, Egypt's exports to Israel stood at $25 million for last month. This is double that of May 2023. Despite increasingly fraught relations over the war in Gaza, energy and security cooperation between the two countries has intensified since October. Israeli natural gas exports to Egypt sharply increased in the last year. Cairo has been a key mediator between Israel and Hamas. Egypt has maintained peaceful relations with Israel over the past 45 years since the 1979 peace treaty. However, relations between the countries have become increasingly strained since October. Driving the tensions is the fear of mass displacement of Palestinians into Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. The diplomatic tensions are clearly not being reflected in the trade relations between the neighbors. But it is not just Egypt. Exports of Jordan and UAE to Israel also increased since last year. Remember, the increase in trade with Israel comes despite growing calls to boycott trade with Israel. In contrast to Egypt, the UAE and Jordan, Israeli statistics found that Turkish exports have dropped by over half in 2024 compared to the previous year. The Turkish Trade Ministry placed heavy restrictions on exports to Israel over the war in Gaza. In May 2023, Turkish exports to Israel amounted to $376.6 million, a value that plummeted to $116.8 million in May 2024. Israel launched a massive military operation in the Gaza enclave after Hamas fighters killed over 1,100 people and took over 250 hostages on October 7 from southern Israel. Ever since, Israeli military has continued its operation in Gaza, killing more than 37,000 Palestinians and mostly civilians. Estimates of the United Nations say more than 1 million people have been displaced in the densely populated strip. Global calls for a ceasefire have fallen on deaf ears in Israel. The Israeli leadership says the war won't stop until Hamas releases the remaining hostages and until the group's military capabilities are completely destroyed.